Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vice President and Chief Information Officer, Eastman Chemical, and incoming ASUG Chairperson, Keith Sturgill.
Wow. Welcome. Welcome to the ASUG Keynote. Whether you're joining us here in person, online, or somewhere on the show floor, thank you for joining us for ASUG's 25th anniversary. I remember way back in 1993, it was my very first ASUG Sapphire event. In those days, Hasso would kick off the keynote with an electric guitar solo. It was pretty cool. Eastman was in the second year of a 3-year rollout of SAP R2. We were excited. We thought we were leading edge. There was a lot of money on the table. Hasso finishes the guitar solo, walks up to the microphone, and says, quote, "R2 is dead." I thought our CIO at the time was going to fall out of his chair. You know, we've come a long way from those early days, from a few seats in a small room to all of this. But you know what? The best is yet to come. I love this quote. "Change has never happened this fast before, and it will never be this slow again." Let's start with the obvious. Digital technology has changed the world, but we are just now getting started. Because right now we're at the beginning of a technology-led revolution that in comparison is going to make the industrial revolution look small. The opportunities in front of us are incredible. We live in an extraordinary time. You know, a time when the boundaries between the physical, the analytical, and the virtual worlds are disappearing because of advances in digital technology. And you know, we don't really need to look very far to get glimpses of what this near future is going to look like. My wife Linda and I have a very dear friend. Yeah, let me introduce you to Eden. Her world is digital. She will never know a world that's not connected. She'll never understand why somebody would have to go to the library to look up information. She'll be perplexed forever by the rotary telephone. And forget the pay telephone booth. I mean, that's for her a place for Superman to change clothes. Eden and her older sister Carly are digital natives. They live in an online get-it-now world. Everything they want is a screen tap away. For them, it's navigate, download, and I've got it. I've got it with me wherever I go, whenever I want it. For them, there is no digital transformation because they already live in a fully digital and connected world. You've probably already figured that Eden has her own iPad. She's got games, educational apps, and children's videos. She unlocks her iPad. She navigates to where she wants to go. She's very proficient. Eden interacts with her digital world very effectively. Sometimes, maybe a little too effectively. You see, her dad had to disable the one-click purchase on their Amazon account when she was 3. Today, Eden is 5. And you know, she could do all of this before she could read. Like Eden, all of us have experienced the transformational power of the consumer internet, the power of connecting people around the world, allowing people to self-organize, to share ideas, and to share opinions, and then make those opinions available instantly to anyone who chooses to listen. In 2005, Thomas Friedman, in his book, The World is Flat, describes a global business environment where geographical divisions become increasingly irrelevant. Connecting the people of the world created an environment for innovative business models to emerge. And of course they did. Some of these are now household names, right? Amazon, Google, Uber. In this new global economy, we've seen traditional retailers disrupted. We've also seen other highly successful retailers who didn't see this transformation soon enough are now facing extinction. All of us have greatly benefited from the rise of the consumer internet. And while the consumer internet has transformed retail business and how people connect, physical assets have remained largely isolated. The Internet of Things, or maybe I should say the Internet of Everything, will overcome this barrier and bring physical assets into the connected world. Now, I don't want you to miss this. Connecting the physical world will far exceed the impact of the consumer internet. Gartner predicts that by 2020, only 4 years from now, there will be 7 billion people connected, but more than 35 billion devices, by some estimates 200 billion, growing quickly to 1 trillion. And this includes 100 million light bulbs. Yeah, light bulbs. If something as boring as a light bulb will be connected, you can bet everything will be connected. So what do you think all this means for the future of our companies? How do we begin now to start thinking about a world that's going to generate business models that we can't even imagine yet? Without a doubt, this will require an expanded mission if we're going to succeed in this new revolution. Because, guys, so much of our history has been focused on efficiency and automation. And yes, of course, this is still required for businesses to compete. But it will be our ability to foster, amplify, and aggregate human insight that's going to set our organizations apart. This new age will require new thinking because efficiency focuses on organizations, but insight focuses on the individual and individual ideas and connecting individuals with ideas. We're going to lower the cost of curiosity. We're going to unleash the creativity of our people like never before. Make no mistake, at its core, this is about decision making. Business decisions happening every day at every level. I believe that advances in data sciences will radically improve the speed and quality of everyday decisions. And this, in turn, will radically change the way businesses operate. We will move quickly into the realm of tough decisions, decisions that involve forecasting, prediction, and even judgment. We are facing the defining moment of our careers. It's up to us as leaders to champion a bold new vision. At Eastman, we're racing toward the future. S/4HANA will form the digital core for Eastman's future business operations. Eastman will succeed in the marketplace by demonstrating speed and agility as we serve the current and the future needs of our customers. Eastman, I believe, is a very special company with a wonderful culture. I'm part of a special team. You know, I am especially proud of the role that the people of Eastman Information Technology have played in the transformation of our company. You see, without great people, we would not be in a position to take advantage of this next great opportunity. We must formulate and communicate a compelling vision for the digital transformation of our business. We must imagine our digital future. The phrase, "If it is to be, it is up to me," has never been truer of our profession. Let's not miss this defining moment. This transformation will be rapid. Don't make the mistake of thinking that this is something that's going to evolve over decades. You know, occasionally I'll still get asked the question, so you're the CIO of Eastman Kodak, right? And my answer is, well, no. At one point, we were part of that industrial giant, but we spun off as Eastman Chemical in 1994. Since then, the two companies have gone their separate ways. Back then, Kodak was one of the greatest brands ever. Most of us grew up with the Kodak moment. We captured the most important events of our lives on Kodak products. In 1996, Kodak was ranked the 4th most valuable brand in the world, behind Disney, Coca-Cola, and McDonald's. Today, these companies have a market cap north of $100 billion, except Kodak, who had to go through bankruptcy. And as you well know, there are many theories and opinions about the reason for Kodak's trouble. Let me share mine. Some would say, Kodak just missed the transition from film to digital photography. I can tell you, that's just not so. Kodak actually invented the digital camera. They also invented the first digital optical sensor that was small enough for the consumer. The error, at least in my opinion, was the fact that they did not recognize the speed at which the transition from film to digital photography would occur. It didn't take decades. In a few short years, the consumer demand for film dropped dramatically. Kodak's failure to recognize the speed at which things happen in the digital world cost them dearly. So let's remember, when things go digital, the speed of change becomes exponential. Regardless of your industry, the digital revolution will permeate your organization. We must start thinking about our business as a decision machine. Digital business will require us to be more agile. More than ever, our businesses will be differentiated by our swift and strategic decision-making. Business innovations will be fueled by information, combined with analytical sophistication, powered by advances in technology like HANA. So maybe, just maybe, you're not convinced that we're on the cusp of a technology-led revolution, that there's an imminent transformation just on the horizon. So let me end my time here with a story that I call the second half of the chessboard. It goes like this. The inventor of chess presented his new game to the king. The king was so impressed with the sophistication of the game that he offered the inventor a significant reward of his choosing. The king said, "What would you like?" The inventor responded, "I am a humble man. My needs, they are small. All I would like is a grain of rice placed on the first square of the chessboard, 2 on the second, 4 on the third, and simply continue like that to complete the chessboard." The king, who was not skilled in mathematics, said, "Absolutely, you are indeed a humble man." So they began populating the chessboard with grains of rice. 1 grain, then 2, then 4, then 8. By the time they reached the end of the first half of the chessboard, the amount of rice required was that of a medium-sized farm, large but certainly doable. But now they entered the second half of the chessboard. Things began to get very large very quickly, so large that completing the request was impossible. You see, by the time they reached the end of the chessboard, it would have required a mountain of rice the size of Mount Everest. So as it turns out, the inventor wasn't such a humble man after all. And also, the king, not a forgiving man either. By some accounts, he had the inventor executed. Checkmate. So by now, you're obviously wondering, what in the world relevance does that have to our topic today? Well, remember, I began with a quote from Gordon Moore. "Change has never happened this fast before, and it will never be this slow again." Well, Gordon Moore was also famous for what came to be known as Moore's Law. Simply stated, Moore's Law accurately predicted the consistent doubling of computer power every 1 to 2 years. All of us have seen that consistent doubling across our careers. If we apply the chessboard analogy to Moore's Law, on square 1, we see the first integrated circuit. Square 11, we see the first digital camera. Square 17, we see the first computer named Deep Thought to beat a grandmaster at the game of chess. On square 18, we see the beginning of the World Wide Web. On square 20, we see SAP R3. Square 27, the first iPhone. And on square 33, as we enter the second half of the chessboard, we see SAP S/4HANA. Now, we've all witnessed what Moore's Law has enabled on the first half of the chessboard. Our businesses operate very differently because of advances in digital technology. The growth and capability has been phenomenal. The impact global. But we haven't seen anything yet. Buckle your seatbelt. The best is yet to come. You see, as incredible as the past few years have been, we are just now entering the second half of the chessboard, the tipping point, where things begin to happen very quickly, exponentially, at mind-boggling speed. What an awesome time to be a technology professional. We know that this future is going to take courage, that it's going to take persistence, and most of all, it's going to take leadership, because great opportunity is always accompanied by great challenges. We will need to be the thought leaders during this transformative time because, frankly, many of our colleagues just aren't thinking about this. It's up to us. It's why we're here together this week. It's why we're ASUG volunteers. At ASUG, what began as 5 companies has grown into thousands. We've worked with SAP to improve releases. We've helped SAP build completely new products to help keep our businesses ahead of the curve. If there is a better way to operate our businesses, and there is, if there are brand new business models to be discovered, and there are, it is up to us together to cast this vision, to put in plans to move our companies toward that vision and to prove the value early and often. As incredible as the past years have been, we are just now entering the second half of the chessboard. Let's take the lead. Let's be part of something bigger than ourselves, something that will position our organizations to succeed for decades to come. Let's take the time to imagine what our companies will look like on ASUG's 30th anniversary. It's up to us. Our time is now. Thank you so much.